So, David, congratulations on the movie. It was so much fun, so funny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So, having come from a background of working in TV and TV movies, this was really your first, big feature film. So, why did you pick this one? Why Johnny English Strikes Again as your debut?
I guess, I grew up watching and loving Laurel and Hardy, Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin. Those things were on TV when I was a kid, and I kind of soaked them up. And I also loved, Pink Panther movies, Peter Sellers and what he could do in those films. And I loved Bond movies. They were a big part of my childhood. And in a way, Johnny English, the character, and the Johnny films, they're the sort of fusion of all of that. And to be able to take those kind of techniques, some of which are a century old, and bring them into a modern context with a story that feels kind of bang up to the moment, that's just a thing I couldn't resist. I mean, because a Bond movie, and this is the closest I'll get to doing a Bond movie, I'm afraid. So
you never know.
You never know.
We'll have to see.
Barbara,
they're looking for a new
I'm
director.
Available. But the idea that you can play on this canvas of glamour and excitement and action, and also bring comedy, which is like my big love really is is making things funny. That just felt like how could I resist?
Sure. So, like I said before, you came from a background in TV. You'd be known for Mitchell and Webb, a show I love, by the way. Me and my partner are always watching the little clips on YouTube and everything. And then Fresh Meat, among other ones. Did you find that there is a difference directing comedy for TV and directing comedy for film?
The big difference is money and time. And there you don't have either of them when you're doing TV comedy. You're kind of really up against the clock, and you're usually working with pennies. And on a movie, particularly a studio movie, you've got a bit more time and a bit more money. But all that happens is that the ambition gets bigger. So you still have the same challenges of trying to pull things off because you might have a bit more time, a bit more money, but you're certainly going to be aiming higher. So we tried to make this film feel like a proper cinema experience, and the scale that we could give the action. That's the frustration sometimes of doing TV is that you kind of have to cheat so often because you can't afford the wide shot. You can't do the explosion. You've only got 3 extras, so it was great to have, an opportunity to work on a slightly bigger scale.
There's so many standout scenes and sequences in this. There's the dance sequence, but one of the ones I really, really liked was the one with the tea and the ticking pen, although I won't say what happens for fear of spoilers.
Great. Oh, good.
But what was it like getting the likes of Michael Gambon and Charles Dance on board for that? That must have been amazing.
Well, this is so many dreams came true for me in terms of actors I could work with. So, any time you're casting a TV comedy or a film, you come up with a sort of list of this is who I'd like, and then you end up usually working kind of down the list 10 names, and you end up with 10 people short of who you wanted, and that was not the case on this movie. So we got Michael Gambon, Edward Fox, Charles Dance, and what they immediately bring is the sort of background of all of the movie characters they've played, and that kind of heritage comes into the room with them. So that when Edward Fox is holding that cup of tea, he used to be shouldering a gun in Day of the Jackal, and Gambon, he was the singing detective, for goodness sake, and Charlie Dance, in Game of Thrones, and so much before that. So just to be able to kind of bring the kind of experience and the kind of symbolism that they all carry into a room with Rowan was just amazing. Yeah.
Did you have any other favorite scene in the movie? Say one that even exceeded your expectations.
I'd say probably the virtual reality sequence, because
that's a great one.
I hope it's really funny. It's a joke I've never seen before, and I think because technically it was such a challenge to pull off that as a director it's kind of like, well, I think that works, and I'm so glad, because there were a lot of worries about that working as a scene, and it was we put a lot of our eggs in that basket.
Sure.
Spent quite a lot of time shooting it and planning it, and should I explain what happens, or roughly what the scene's about, or?
No. We'll save it because we don't want to.
Cool.
People. We have to get people to go see the movie,
Go
and
see
it's
the
kind
movie.
of teased in the trailer
Okay.
and everything.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
yeah.
That's good.
Brilliant. But it's so well staged and everything. I love that scene as well.
Oh, good.
I suppose I wanted to ask you just more generally, you know, you've been working in comedy for a number of years now, and what's so nice about Johnny English Strikes Again is that it is old school comedy. But do you think the genre as a whole has like changed and developed, particularly in more recent years?
I think comedy is ever changing. I think, you know, because sometimes I get asked, well, you know, don't you want to do something other than comedy? And I feel like, well, you know, for me, comedy has all the challenges of straight drama with the additional challenge of it needs to be funny. So I'm never going to feel that within comedy I haven't had a chance to play and kind of use all the colors in the paint box. Because, you know, I direct shows like Inside Number 9, which is a really dark, twisted comedy. And then I do something like Johnny English, which is a, you know, a warm family comedy. So I think it's just understanding the tone of those things. But I think at the moment we are in time, if you're going to do a comedy for the cinema, it has to feel cinematic. You have to give people an experience they're not going to get in TV at home. So I think for this movie, it was very much about go big, give it as much scale as you can, make it feel properly cinematic, make it be something that you want to sit in a darkened room with 300 strangers and laugh together. You know, that's basically what we're trying to do.
Brilliant, David. So my very last question for you is, what's next? Would you like to do more feature filmmaking, go back to TV for a while?
You know, I'm reading scripts and I'm meeting, and for me it's just about good material. I don't really mind if it's TV or if it's film. If it's a great story that I want to tell and there's something I can get my teeth into and there's performers that I want to work with, that's what it's about. So we'll see.
That's perfect. We'll leave it there, so thanks so much.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Virtual reality.
It's completely immersive and some people lose track of their actual surroundings.
I think we can pretty much guarantee that's not going to happen.
Tell me the agent you've got in the field is making some progress.
Target acquired.
This is a job for the shoebox inflator.
Don't open it in the car!
Can you reach your door handle?
Not really, sir.
Magnetic boots.
Brilliant, son.
No one must have the slightest clue we're here.